everybody. Happy spring. My name is Anne-Marie, and this is my friend,
Brielle Rochester.
We're so glad you guys are here. We're back to Table Talk. I own and operate a company called SustainableLife.live. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and my heart lies with high school athletes. So I specifically want to have a conversation today about mental health and student athletes. And I want to read a statistic before we go into a little bit of Brielle's story and some of her advice. So it's estimated that 31.9% of high school athletes experience some form of anxiety disorder. And this is from the National Federation of State High Schools, but I've also seen that with high school athletic coaches. I've seen that statistic over and over again. And it's kind of shocking, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely, like, you can see it everywhere, and it's shocking how high it is, but, like, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, so when I first of all, we met almost 4 years ago, which
Yes.
I can't believe.
It's crazy.
Right? It is crazy. We had the privilege of, I actually had the privilege of coaching her, which was awesome. But when I reached out to you and asked if you would, participate, you said absolutely. And the first thing you said is, I'm really experiencing this now because of...
I tore my ACL in soccer recently, about 4 weeks post-surgery, so it's very recent. And it's a long recovery. It's my first big injury, so it's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
And I think also, even last year, I experienced a lot of obstacles during my seasons.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of, you don't really know how to navigate through it. And obviously, I feel like people are always there for you and are positive, but it's also kind of like, it's hard to make that first step of reaching out and actually talking to someone through difficult times. And I think that's one thing I lacked, and hopefully during this year I'll be able to reach out more and use resources. But definitely last year also, when I was overcoming stuff, I think I almost just kept it all down.
Sure.
And I didn't want pity and empathy from people, because I thought that's what it looked like if I reached out for help, which is a problem.
Totally.
Yeah. But so hopefully I'll be able to share more and overcome this better.
So let's talk a little bit about this. So first of all, and we talked briefly, but none of this was pre-scripted, but as far as your injury goes, when you're injured as an athlete, so first of all, there's the shock and there's the pain. Mm-hmm. But once you're past all that, talk a little bit about what happens to your identity.
Yeah, so even without sports, I'm just always an active person, just moving. I hate sitting down on the couch and watching TV. I can barely watch a movie. So definitely when sports get taken away, I just feel lazy, and that's a part that I had to change and just kind of accept that and take one day at a time. I actually started on my notes on my phone, just minor accomplishments for each day, whether it be onto one crutch or I got an extra degree in bending my knee, stuff like that. So that helped a lot. But also I still try to keep involved with my sports and be there on the sideline cheering everyone on. Even just texting people, just getting support for them and cheering them on and making them know I'm still here.
Because otherwise you feel left out.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Otherwise you feel left out. And talk a little bit about from a mental health perspective, and your identity as an athlete. And you talked a little bit about when you were going through a hard time, you have this persona. Mm-hmm. And I know you as a person, so I know what your persona is, but I also think I know you a little more intimate than that. Mm-hmm. But this idea that I am a rock star athlete, which she is, I'm a rock star athlete, and I have to constantly be on, and I have to have this image about myself, and the way I look, the way I act, which in leadership is important. I'm not taking that away, but talk to me a little bit about what it feels like to not have an authentic feeling.
Yeah, it's definitely been tough, and I think I also don't like when people have to do things for me. So one challenge I did realize I had, I couldn't even raise my leg up to get in bed. Yeah. So people trying to help me, I was just very independent and focused on my sports all the time. I mean, obviously I was at home with my family a lot, but also I was just like on my own. It felt like a lot. I would go to practice on my own, you know what I mean? So when I'm at home and like having all this help, it's nice, but it's also kind of like, this isn't me, like I need my space, that kind of thing.
Sure, yeah, you're probably a little like me that way, where you like to, your alone time is important.
Yeah.
We were talking a little bit about resources, and you said you're going to do better at looking at resources. So talk to me about, from a high school athlete perspective, what are the misses in high school athletics when it comes to providing resources?
Yeah, for me it kind of feels like it's very on the surface level. Like everyone's like, oh, reach out when you're feeling down, or even about like food and stuff, like, oh, you need to fuel your body, you need to hydrate, you need sleep, you need to meditate, like kind of reset. But it's also, I think, kind of limited. Like I feel like that's as far as it goes. Mm-hmm. And then you're almost navigating it through like by yourself.
Sure.
So I think that's definitely a problem in high school, and hopefully college is a little better, which I think it will be. But just like navigating through the resources, I think there probably is a lot of available, but you don't know how to get there, and I think there needs to be more.
So, and I agree with you, and that's something I think we've done a relatively decent job with in the sport that I coach. We provide nutrition workshops that includes hydration. We do a sleep hygiene seminar. I mean, like, we are intimate about it. We get into the weeds with it. We talk about social media, mental health, and we have a whole day focused on that. And then we do yoga and meditation once a week. Do you think that's something that all high school sports should implement?
Oh, yeah, I think it all should be implemented, but it's definitely not right now.
Okay.
I know a lot of sports that are like practice 5 days a week, games every weekend.
Yeah.
You don't have a break. And
not a break.
If you wanted to do yoga, that's something you do on your own. And when do you have the time to do that? You have to wake up at 5 o'clock before school to go to yoga class. Like, that's just not very realistic sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially if you're trying to get more sleep. It just doesn't equal out.
Right, yeah. So maybe re-looking at the practice schedules and implementing those things into the schedule ahead of time, or the curriculum.
Like a recovery day instead of a practice. Like,
oh, that's a great idea. Yeah. That's a really good idea. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And maybe even on that recovery day, it can be more of a workshop or more of an interactive. Yeah, I like that. And then last thing, and I know we're going to come back and talk about mental health and social media, but last thing we were talking about was culture. And that as a team, you guys talk a little bit about culture, but somehow your individual values may not get articulated as well. So talk a little bit about that, and how sometimes the idea of the cultures kind of get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I was going to start out with. I think usually I have had conversations where you sit down and you pick out what you want your team to be, which is different from what you want sometimes. But so you come up with an idea of like what you guys want to look like.
Sure.
And I think sometimes you have conversations and you're involved, but then throughout the season, you almost forget you had that conversation and those goals and ideas of where you guys want to be at. And it's like you did all that talking for nothing, because it's not being brought up again and again throughout games and throughout practices. So I think it's just kind of an idea, but it's never carried out all the way through the season.
Yeah. So I think that, with Mental Health Awareness Month, and specifically mental health and high school athletes, we as coaching staffs need to do a better job providing education, resources, and information, and implement them into the programming. And if we're going to talk about values, something that needs to be carried out throughout the season.
And relevant,
right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And then does it make sense to be talking more about mental health as opposed to mental health awareness? Let's talking specifically about mental health. Do you think that needs to happen more?
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
And very individual too. It needs to be more individual.
I agree.
And not on it shouldn't be a team conversation.
I agree. I 100% agree with you there. Yeah. So we have a bunch of resources, you guys, on the website. We're going to, and I'll put a bunch of stuff. Good comment, you guys. Let us know what you think. If you guys are a high school coach or a student athlete, we'd love to hear your feedback. Thanks so much, and we look forward to talking to you guys about social media. Thanks!